This dirtbag's a real bad guy. He's got to go down.
Let's do it.
I'm John Walsh, and I've dedicated my entire life to locking up the worst criminals.
We're tracking down one of the most ruthless gangs of lawbreakers we've ever gone after.
My son Callahan and I are fired up. With your help, we're coming for fugitives, hunting them down, and putting them right where they belong, behind bars, including these that you'll see tonight. First, she called for help, but within 24 hours, she was gone. A young mother of 4 shot to death in her own home. Now the manhunt is on for her husband, veteran Aaron Pennington. Then, he was a butcher, a master of the craft, but police say his talent with a knife took a terrifying turn. We're on the hunt for Renato Yedra Braceno. Finally, a ruthless crew of thieves stalking celebrities online and ransacking their homes for luxury loot. Tonight, Atlanta's own Lil Jon is in studio with us to help break down a dangerous bling ring and catch the one who got away, Karwan Mohammed. America's Most Wanted is the original true crime series, and we're back. You can run, but you can't hide. Hello, I'm John Walsh, and this is America's Most Wanted. Tonight, we're back on the hunt for the most dangerous fugitives wherever they're hiding.
And I'm Callahan Walsh. We just kicked off a brand new season, and the pursuit of justice is already in full swing.
We're fired up as ever, bringing you a new lineup of cases in the search for low-life fugitives, including one from a notorious Atlanta area crime ring. Stepping in to join the fight tonight, we've got a special guest, Grammy-winning rapper and born and raised in Atlanta, Lil Jon. He's here to help us break down this case in his hometown.
It's a team effort at AMW. Alongside our investigators, we have the FBI, U.S. Marshals, and local and state police all standing by. But you continue to be our greatest partner. Since 1988, your tips have helped us nab 1,198 suspected criminals. And remember, when you call or go to our website, your identity will be protected.
Every tip, every second counts, because no matter how far fugitives run, one thing is certain. You can run, but you can't hide. Let's settle up.
Our first case is a heartbreaking reminder that domestic violence can often be a race against time.
It's been nearly 2 years since a devoted mother of 4 was brutally murdered at her home in Gardner, Massachusetts. What makes this case so tragic is that Breezy Pennington, just before her death, reportedly called police to tell them she was having trouble in her marriage and that she feared for her safety. Now her husband, Aaron Pennington, the prime suspect in her murder, is on the run.
Is he considered a suspect or a person of interest?
He's considered armed and dangerous and a person that we want to find.
This is one of the strangest cases. For a nice town like Gardner, it was shocking.
They were so good at masking, it was hard to tell that there was all this chaos going on behind the scenes.
She was going to take the kids and bring them down to Texas. She ran out of time.
She was beautiful, and she loved her children, and she didn't deserve to die. My niece Brianne came into this world so loved, and she just loved running on her horse with that long blonde hair blowing in the wind. So we called her Breezy, and Breezy was very active in our church. In 2012 at church, this tall blonde boy walks in, and Brianne said, "That one is mine." His name was Aaron Pennington.
And just 7 months later, 20-year-old Breezy and 22-year-old Aaron were married in the Mormon church.
After their first child was born, Aaron decided to join the Air Force. They were stationed in Okinawa, Japan. They had 2 more children, and in the early years, they were so happy. But I do believe in Okinawa was the start of some trouble for them. Aaron was really struggling at this point. You know, there was depression. He was never that military type of man's man.
In 2021, Aaron was discharged from the Air Force and transitioned back to civilian life.
He obtained a job with a defense contractor in Massachusetts. They found a new church community.
I got to know the Penningtons when they moved into the area as they attended our church. Aaron mentioned to me that depression ran in his family. During our conversations, there was a darkness. He spent all the time talking to me about his worries and his anxieties. He was just worried because his wife was into tarot cards and getting tattoos. Those aren't necessarily bad, but they were separating her from the religion. He worked at a few different jobs, but then he wasn't taking care of himself mentally and physically, and so he quit those jobs.
The bills were coming in and not being paid. There was a lot of fighting.
The Gardner police logged a number of incidences at the Pennington house. They ranged from Aaron acting erratically to Brianne's concerns for his mental health.
Brianne had decided that she was leaving.
You're staying here. I'm going to my mom.
The marriage was over.
In early October of 2023, Aaron went to visit family in California.
He was obsessively calling, texting. He wanted her to take him back. That was never going to happen. She left messages with a friend talking about her fear and that she had decided to leave and take the children to Texas to be closer to her grandparents. But on October 20th, Aaron was flying home. She was scared that he was just out of his mind, and so she called Gardner police about whether she wanted a restraining order.
Breezy then left a panicked audio message for a friend.
I've told Aaron 1,000,000 times, do not show up here. You need to get help. I do not feel safe. You're not welcome.
A little more than 24 hours later, and she was dead.
My neighbor's kids have come over to my house scared. They don't know where their dad is, and they're trying to get a hold of their mom. They can't get into her bedroom.
I got a call. One of the neighbors next door to the Penningtons said that the children had showed up on the doorstep. We then go in the house asking, Breezy, where are you? Is anyone here? Breezy? So we just try the door, and the knob turns, but there was a dresser right there. I remember seeing Breezy laying in the bed with her head facing away.
There's a woman in the bed. She's hurt. Okay. I'm not sure exactly how hurt, but there's blood. Hold on 1 second.
It was a violent scene. It appeared to be an execution. My first question was, where is Aaron Pennington?
Aaron Pennington is 34 years old, has blonde hair, blue eyes, is 6 feet 2 inches tall, and weighs about 175 pounds. He's an Air Force veteran and a skilled mechanic, so it's possible he could be working in aviation or automotive repair. He was also a member of the Church of Latter-day Saints. So there's two communities, veterans and members of the Mormon Church, and it's possible folks in these groups could be helping him out. If you recognize this fugitive, don't approach him. Pennington is considered armed and dangerous. Call 1-866-AMW-TIPS or go to amwtips.com.
Coming up, police uncover a smoking gun and trace the final steps of Aaron Pennington. And later, authorities accuse a butcher of brutally murdering his girlfriend, then setting her apartment on fire to cover up his crime. Plus, a ruthless gang uses social media to target celebrities and rob their homes, terrorizing the community. Atlanta's own Lil Jon helps us dig into this wild story. But first, we need your tips to help us close this case. Take a good look. The year-long manhunt continues for Jonathan Baez Perez, who's wanted for allegedly shooting a man 9 times at the Carniceria La Tuna Market in Enid, Oklahoma. Police say the confrontation began when Baez Perez, seen in white, approached Cesar Gomez outside this grocery store. Their argument quickly escalated until a friend stepped in to break up the fight. But the beef isn't over, as Baez Perez returns to his vehicle. Still upset, Gomez approaches and kicks the car door, which is flung open, as Baez Perez allegedly opens fire from the passenger seat, hitting Gomez in the hand and torso. Watch as Baez Perez makes his escape behind the vehicle as Gomez clutches his gunshot wounds. Luckily, Gomez survived. Baez Perez is 24 years old, 5 foot 6 inches tall, weighing 140 pounds. Authorities say he has a prior felony gun conviction and may have fled to his home state of Jalisco, Mexico, and they're offering a $5,000 reward for his capture. If you recognize him, contact us immediately. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Authorities are searching for Aaron Pennington, the man they suspect of murdering his own wife, Breezy, just as she was preparing to leave him. As investigators dig deeper, they uncover a disturbing relationship and a chilling call for help.
My brother called me. He said Breezy's been murdered, and I had to have him repeat it 3 times. She was in the safety of her own bed.
It appeared that Aaron Pennington had barricaded the door to the bedroom, had allegedly killed his wife, Breanne Pennington, exited the house by jumping out of a second-floor window. And now he was nowhere to be found. We didn't find a gun at the scene, but we did find Aaron's cell phone.
That cell phone contained a note that Aaron apparently wrote to himself.
Don't say anything. Be quiet. If she wakes up, just say you're getting nasal spray. Get on side of bed, very close proximity to head. Put hole in her head. And that is the smoking gun.
We are currently looking for Aaron Pennington. He is considered to be armed and dangerous. He is driving a white BMW.
Surveillance video from a house across the street showed Aaron Pennington's white BMW leaving their residence at about 8:50 in the morning.
Monday, October 23rd, Aaron's vehicle was located at Camp Collier in Gardner. A hunter found the vehicle. It appears that the car got stuck. It's not really an area that you would drive to. Suspicious. Literally, it feels like he just disappeared.
I felt like I was trying to help him and that my efforts fell on their face. I felt betrayed. It was hard to reckon with. I never knew if I even talked to the real Aaron. If Aaron's still out there, I would encourage him to turn himself in.
I know he's out there. I know he is. I think about Breezy every single day. I want to kiss her cheeks and tell her I'm so sorry. I will never stop loving you. There's nothing you do will ever, ever change how much I love you.
Folks in the military, even veterans, can have complicated issues in their family lives. So we wanted to talk to someone who had firsthand insight into that world. Josh White is a veteran, a podcaster, and an influential voice in the Air Force community. Josh, thanks for being here.
Sir, it is my honor. From one veteran who serves this country to another, I want to thank you, sir. When folks like me are deployed, we know our families are safe because we have someone like you out there watching over us.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the kind words, and thank you for your service. Aaron Pennington, he was an airman, you're an airman.
Yes, sir.
How do you compare your service with his?
So with Aaron's service, the biggest overlap is probably the fact that we both worked on the Kadena Air Base flight line in Okinawa, Japan. With that comes 12-hour shifts.
Right.
You have to be alert at all times, your attention to detail at an all-time high with zero room for error.
The stress of being in another country. My dad, who was my hero, 15 medals in World War II, was stationed on Okinawa. He flew a B-24, almost shot down several times. Returning to civilian life is tough, isn't it?
Being away from your family, being overseas, especially being a young, newer airman. I was always warned of the culture shock of going to Japan, going to another country. But I'll tell you, the culture shock was actually the return back to the United States. It kind of felt like I had to, keep looking over my shoulder. There was a sense of unease.
There's so much traumatic stress syndrome these days. And his wife was pulling away from the Mormon church. That probably added to the stress.
If you are not mentally prepared, emotionally prepared for something like that, it can certainly catch you off guard.
Looking at this case, what do you think could have been done differently?
With Aaron specifically, those red flags were probably there for many years. People probably saw them over and over again. And unfortunately, he did not have the intervention he needed at the time. When we see those red flags and we ignore them and say, they'll figure it out, they'll get better, it's not the right answer.
No.
I think we need to normalize asking for help.
What if he was watching tonight?
I'd say, Aaron, I've been in your shoes. I know firsthand the pressure and the anxiety that comes with a mission like that. I understand what it's like to be a father and a husband and to feel the pressure of supporting them. But I also understand that he joined with the values that all airmen join with. Integrity first, service before self, excellence in all we do.
Right.
And I know at some point in his life, those meant something to him. So I would tell him to tap back into that.
I couldn't agree with you more. Want to thank you for all the kind words. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir.
Let's take another look at Aaron Pennington. He's 34 years old, has blonde hair, blue eyes, is about 6 feet 2 inches tall, and weighs about 175 pounds. Pennington has been on the run for over a year, and he's left quite a trail behind him. His wife, Breezy, was found dead in their Gardner, Massachusetts home in 2023. The following day, police found the car they believe Pennington was driving at a nearby campground. A search there and at a nearby lake turned up no sign of him. Pennington also has ties to Southern California, specifically the Inland Empire, where his father lives. We also know Aaron was a faithful member of the Church of Latter-day Saints, so it's worth mentioning he could be hiding where there's a large Mormon community like Salt Lake City. If you've seen someone who fits the description, be very cautious. Pennington is considered armed and dangerous.
Coming up, she thought she knew the guy she was dating, an award-winning butcher. But police claim his talent turned deadly. Then, an Atlanta area gang uses social media to track celebrities and rob their homes. To help us out, Atlanta's own Lil Jon will join us. But first, we need your help with this case. Authorities in Washington state are looking for this woman, Seattle's serial bank robber. She's connected to at least 6 bank robberies in 6 months and accused of stealing thousands of dollars from banks all over Seattle. This first heist was at a U.S. bank where she passes a note demanding money. The teller hands her hundreds of dollars and she calmly leaves the bank. Here she is on January 3rd, 2025, this time at a Home Street bank, passing a similar note to a bank teller. She walks away with a stack of cash, seen here in the bank's parking lot. Then, just last month, she robs another Home Street bank, but this time she flashes a gun at the teller. The suspect is described as an Asian female, 20 years old, 5 foot 4 inches tall. If you're in the Seattle area and recognize her, call us now. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This next case is about a butcher who won recognition in meat-cutting competitions all around the world. He had the awards, the reputation, and by all accounts, an incredible girlfriend. But it was a love story that would turn deadly.
Veronica was fun. She was young and free, and you can tell that she will always be surrounded by friends and family. Me and Veronica have been always very close. We grew up in Italy. Because Veronica was older than me, she wanted to protect me. It was 2 of us against the world.
In 2012, Hillary moved to the North Beach section of San Francisco, where her sister Veronica would join her 2 years later.
North Beach, it's the Italian area of San Francisco. Lots of Italian restaurants, bar, you can drink a coffee like Italians do. Veronica and Hillary, they were definitely best friends. We saw each other every day, I would say, yes.
When I had my son Gabriele, Veronica immediately fell in love with him. She wanted to be in his life.
Happy birthday to you.
Bye. Ciao, belly. Bye. Veronica and my husband both ended up working at the butcher shop, and there was a man there. He was always in charge to cut the meat. He was a shy person, not someone that would initiate a conversation.
Renato Yedra Braceno was living in San Francisco after a childhood spent learning the butcher trade in Mexico City. He won several prestigious butchery contests, even representing Mexico in butcher competitions.
Veronica and Renato started dating, but they were trying to keep their relationship low profile.
Honestly, I didn't like him very much. He was distant. About a year into their relationship, they had a fight. Renato got very jealous that my sister got this text from an old friend. She didn't like his reaction.
We didn't socialize with Renato and Veronica. They only came once. It was Christmas Day. Renato and Veronica were having some issues, definitely some tension, for sure.
About a week later, she came over to our house on New Year's Eve. I was very pregnant at that time, and there was something off.
She was trying to hide it from her sister. But then later, she started telling me things that we didn't know until that. She got pregnant. Then she lost the baby. She was worried about Renato being upset. I'd get a feeling that she was scared of them at that time.
She never told me because I was pregnant and because she didn't want to put stress on me and being worried.
Just 2 weeks later, Hillary went into labor with her second child.
My contractions started at 2 a.m. Veronica was supposed to come to stay with Gabriele home while we were going to the hospital.
We started calling Veronica, and we didn't get any answer. We need to figure out something else. And then we head to the hospital. At 8 a.m. in the morning, Hillary was getting ready to have the baby, and I have this phone call. On the other side was Veronica's neighbor telling me that something happened very bad to Veronica. He told me the apartment was on fire. And he told me Veronica's dead.
The fire department arrived on scene at 8 in the morning. They observed a female on the ground, burnt to a crisp. She had a gash or slice almost from ear to ear across her neck. They could immediately recognize this was likely a homicide.
Not only did this scumbag allegedly take the life of Veronica Donito, the fire put an entire apartment building filled with occupants at risk. We're talking about an alleged murder and arson. Please, we need your help to locate Yedra Braceno, the prime suspect. Take a good look. Yedra Braceno is 40 years old, a Latino male. He usually wears his hair in a ponytail, but he may cut it shorter to alter his appearance. He also has a distinctive peak in his hairline and his left ear is pierced. And check out these renderings of Braceno's tattoos, created by the U.S. Marshal Service for America's Most Wanted. He has a DF on the left side of his chest, and his entire back is covered with a large angel skeleton.
Coming up, the trail of evidence and surveillance video leads police to their #1 suspect. Plus, a string of home invasions and burglaries has an Atlanta community on edge. But first, we need your help solving this case. Authorities in Houston are on the lookout for this man, accused of brazenly robbing 2 local businesses in a matter of minutes. First, at the Lucky Convenience Store in the 8900 block of South Braeswood Boulevard, the suspect demands money. It appears he has his hand in his waistband, possibly to signal a threat that he has a weapon. Watch as the suspect grabs the register and opens it himself, while the cashier tries to stop him from grabbing hundreds of dollars in cash. Money in hand, he leaves to his next heist. 5 minutes later, and a half a mile away, this scumbag then attempts to rob a grocery store. But this time, the clerk doesn't give him a dime. He exits the store empty-handed, but luckily, surveillance cameras catch his face. Take a look. The suspect is a white male, early 40s. He was seen wearing a gray shirt, orange shorts with a Texas Longhorn logo on the bottom left, and a Texas A&M Aggies gray hat. He could be using a beard as a disguise. If you recognize this man, send us your tips. And remember, you can make a difference. Welcome back to America's Most Wanted. Veronica DeNito's life was cut short in a savage attack. Her family was shattered. As if her loss wasn't painful enough, they got the devastating news on a day that should have been one of the happiest of their lives.
On Friday, January 15th of 2021, officers received a report of a structure fire. Fire department observed a female with a large gash across her neck. One of the neighbors informed the detectives that there was conversation taking place. They were familiar with the voice as being Renato, the boyfriend of the victim. At that point, Renato became a possible suspect in this homicide.
I had Maya, so I turned to Mariano, and he had this very, very worried face. So in that moment, it was like, something's wrong.
At that time, I was really in shock. I don't know what to do. And then I just, tell Hillary that Veronica was just not with us anymore.
I was holding my brand new daughter, Maya, when Mariano told me that my sister was killed. And I don't think I realized it like right away. And then they took the baby away from me. And then I don't remember much after that.
In this investigation of the homicide, cell phone records showed Renato at the scene of the crime within the time frame of we believe when it happened. An ignitable liquid was found within the carpet around the body, which detectives believe to be gasoline. Video surveillance from the local gas station revealed Renato purchased a red gas canister approximately a half hour before the 911 call from dispatch. Cell phone records showed he traveled to Crocker Amazon Park, where we located a vehicle in which we observed a red gas canister along with a large butcher knife, which revealed DNA belonging to the victim. Renato was observed enter a nearby vehicle, which belonged to an uncle. Renato and his uncle drove from Daly City to the U.S.-Mexico border on the same day of the homicide.
I think about her every day, and there's so much in my daughter that reminds me of her. Renato took so much away from me. You don't want people like this to be out on the street.
The way that he did all these things, I don't think he deserved to. Being free, you need to have justice.
It's just not right. Having to remember every single birthday of my daughter, it's too much. Sorry.
To help us understand what motivated this fugitive is Dr. Leslie Dobson, a forensic psychologist and podcaster who spent nearly 2 decades analyzing the minds of some very violent people. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
As a forensic psychologist, what do you think's going on?
I definitely think he shows this callous nature. The way that he killed her, cutting her neck, is so graphic and horrifying that you have to be detached from your emotions.
Right, a sociopath, but incompetent.
I think he was in panic mode.
Yeah.
And then, as you can see in the video, he actually buys gasoline to bring back to her apartment to burn the apartment down and hide the crime scene.
But he returned to the crime scene, which shows that the arson wasn't premeditated.
Yes, there was anger, and he wanted to cover his tracks. Yep. This wasn't planned out, because the police still find her, and they can identify her. So I'm thinking this individual is very impulsive.
Yeah, you know as well as I do how dangerous he is.
100%.
Do you think he's been carrying on his career while he's been on the run?
I think he identifies as a butcher. He has awards of being such a great butcher and very comfortable with knives.
And we heard that he's got family in the restaurant business in Mexico.
Yes, so he'd be in the back of a restaurant. He would be in the back of some place in charge of the meat, but still using his skill set in some way.
So I say to people all the time, if you're eating in a restaurant, just keep your eyes open.
Yeah.
People were sitting in a restaurant, an Irish pub, watching America's Most Wanted. We had profiled the guy that was working in a kitchen in a restaurant, and they made the call to us and to 911, and he got captured.
It's amazing.
So we need to tell people to be on the lookout.
Yes.
If you could talk to him for 2 seconds, what would you say?
A little girl's birthday will forever be associated with this alleged crime. Turn yourself in. Give them emotional justice.
I know very much. I've walked in the shoes of that family waiting for justice.
Right? It's called ambiguous grief, where we lose a limb, but we still feel like it's there. We lose a family member, but we don't know who did it exactly. We want justice, and then we can grieve.
End some of the pain of this family.
Yes.
Well, thank you for all the great advice. Thanks for being here. And hopefully something you said will get somebody to make that call. Thank you. Cal.
Let's take a look at the trail investigators are following. After the fire was extinguished, the body of Veronica Donito was discovered in her apartment in Daly City, California. Shortly after, the suspect's phone connected to a cell tower in San Francisco, where investigators later located his abandoned car. Then, investigators tracked a family member driving Yedra Braceno across the border into Mexico, where he reportedly has family in Mexico City, some who work in the restaurant business. Authorities say he may have connections in Alabama as well. Veronica's family is desperate for answers and for justice. If you have any information on Yedra Braceno's whereabouts, call 1-866-AMW-TIPS or go to our site, amwtips.com.
Coming up, an Atlanta gang used social media to stalk and rob wealthy celebrities. Now, one of the lowlifes in this criminal posse is still out there. To help us unpack this case, rapper, Grammy-winning icon Lil Jon will join us right here. So stay with us. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back to America's Most Wanted. It was a high-stakes crime spree in one of Atlanta's wealthiest neighborhoods. Celebrities targeted, homes ransacked, luxury items stolen, and one innocent victim shot. Law enforcement took down most of this dangerous bling ring, but one of these dirtbags is still out there. We'll talk about all this with rapper Lil Jon in a moment. But first, take a look.
Sandy Springs is generally one of the more affluent, nicer places to live inside of the greater Atlanta area. Celebrities, athletes, when they're looking to put down roots in Atlanta, Sandy Springs is one of the top places they'll go.
Here in Sandy Springs, from 2021 to 2022, we noticed an uptick in home invasions.
Authorities learned the burglaries were all tied to a group of violent criminals known as the Drug Rich Gang.
These criminals, they did their homework.
This group would monitor social media pages for their targets, seeing whether or not somebody was home.
In July of 2022, the gang hit Real Housewives of Atlanta star Marlo Hampton's house while she was vacationing in Toronto. And the gang didn't stop there. After singer Mariah Carey posted pictures to social media, the drug-rich gang broke into her multi-million-dollar home in Sandy Springs, stealing some of her most prized possessions.
They took Kobe Bryant jersey, custom microphone, designer clothing. The value of items taken from Mariah Carey was over $1 million.
As the gang continued terrorizing the city, 1 month later, they targeted another house.
Multiple individuals that are armed, wearing ski masks, kick the door in.
But this time, things turned violent. Surprised to find a house sitter, these lowlifes shot the person, then fled in a panic. Luckily, the victim in that home survived. But as for the thieves, their luck was running out.
With the help of surveillance cameras, we were able to get the license plate number off the suspect vehicle. That is when the dominoes started to fall. One of the men that was in the car, we started to question him.
That scumbag rolled on his co-conspirators. And that's when police learned the gang's alleged leader was Jeremy Caldwell, a convicted criminal from Atlanta with a rap sheet that included burglary and weapons charges.
Through this investigation, we are able to see they were researching their targets. They were logging on to various real estate websites to see the layout of the home. In my 12 years of prosecution, I have not seen an organization as sophisticated in their planning. But this gang was playing with fire. Even though during the crime they may be wearing ski masks, they had no problem showing off on social media the items that were taken. That was part of their downfall.
I obtained a source. That source gave me information when the home invasion was going to occur. And through the source, they now were headed to South Florida to hit an NFL player who plays with the Miami Dolphins, and he lives close to the water.
But before their big score, these hoodlums had the bright idea to party on a yacht. As they popped their champagne, little did they know they were about to get popped.
Miami Metro-Dade staked the place out, and they apprehended Mr. Caldwell and one of the stolen watches valued over $100,000.
We ultimately indicted 28 people. The organization itself included dozens more.
The arrest of these highly sophisticated criminals made a dent in the drug-rich gang who stole millions from the peaceful community of Sandy Springs.
Mr. Caldwell had a small army of men that he used to do these home invasions.
And detectives are still on the hunt for a man named Karwan Mohammed, whose car was used in the Mariah Carey home invasion. This is the last piece of the puzzle to put an end to the gang's reign of terror.
We were doing everything to get these criminals arrested and off the street.
We're joined now by a music icon who's synonymous with Atlanta, who helped shape the sound of the city. Beyond music, his influence runs deep by bringing a voice to the most important stories in the community. Lil Jon,
thank you.
Welcome to America's Most Wanted.
Legend! It's great to be here, guys. What's up, brother?
Thanks for being here.
I've been a fan of America's Most Wanted since the very, very beginning. And like for me, I want to understand what makes people think they can get away with this stuff.
Right. Are you familiar with the Sandy Springs area?
Yes, I'm very familiar with pretty much all of Atlanta. I'm born and raised. This is the place you call home, the place you think is safe. You could leave your door unlocked, and now things like this are happening, and you're more alert. And
it was a hell of a wake-up call, wasn't it?
Yes, it is.
Many of the victims probably didn't even realize it, but they're putting out all this information in just a single social media post.
Right. It made us kind of be like, wow, like, okay, I need to watch what I'm posting. Maybe I won't even say where I'm going. And people kind of were really on guard.
I mean, this isn't over. I mean, people are still nervous, aren't they?
People are definitely still nervous because it wasn't just one type of celebrity. It wasn't just a rapper. It was all type athletes, all types of people were targeted in these crimes, and it just kind of put a little fear in the city and not knowing who they were gonna get next.
You know, we've had a pretty good track record, America's Most Wanted. We've caught 1,200 guys in 45 countries. Wow. But what's it gonna take to catch this guy? He's the last one left.
Just think it's just gonna take one brave person to just step up and help to get this guy off the street so this doesn't happen to anyone else again.
Absolutely.
He's probably just had his head down, but eventually they all slip up.
You're right on that. This will be the last guy to catch. You know, you gotta tell me, turn it down for what? What is it? Everybody wants to know what it means.
Turn down for what means like when the party's almost over and someone's like, yeah, are you going home? Go home for what? Or like, stop, slow down for what? No, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna turn it up for more.
We're gonna turn it up, turn the heat up on this guy.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Exactly, brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
Police nabbed almost everyone in this crime ring, but there's one suspect still walking free. Take a good look at Karwan Mohammed. He's 33 years old, 5'7", about 200 pounds. He's bald with brown eyes. He's alleged to be part of these violent Atlanta area home invasions, but he's vanished and covered his trail. Let's help police catch up to him. Call us at 1-866-AMW-TIPS or hit us up on our site at amwtips.com.
Coming up, we'll take another look at the fugitives still on the run, suspects who think they can slip through the cracks. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Let's recap some of our cases and the fugitives we need your help to catch.
Aaron Pennington is 34 years old, has blonde hair, blue eyes, and is 6 foot 2 inches tall, and he weighs about 175 pounds. Now, he was last seen in Gardner, Massachusetts, and is wanted in connection to the murder of his wife, Breezy. We really need your tips to deliver justice to Breezy's family and her 4 children.
Renato Yedra Braceno is 40 years old. Latino male, 5'7" and 170 pounds with black hair and brown eyes. He usually wears his hair in a ponytail, and he has a distinctive peak in his hairline, and his left ear is pierced. These renderings of Braceno's tattoos created by the U.S. Marshals show a D and an F on the left side of his chest, and a skeleton angel on his back. Authorities believe Yedra Braceno is hiding out in Mexico, where he reportedly has family, and he has possible contacts in Alabama. Wherever you live, be on the lookout for this dangerous fugitive.
We also told you about a ruthless crime ring in the Atlanta area and a car that was used in a string of violent home invasions. Tonight, we're on the hunt for the car's owner, Karwan Mohammed. He's 33 years old, 5'7", and about 200 pounds. He's bald with brown eyes. If you have any information, please don't wait. Call 1-866-AMW-TIPS or visit amwtips.com. Now, before we go, a look ahead to next week and a case we urgently need your help solving. It seemed like just another day at a crowded strip mall when a man walked up and fired 6 shots, killing a sanitation worker. Now his family is left without a father, and a fugitive has earned himself a spot on the FBI's 10 Most Wanted list. That's next week on America's Most Wanted.
Thank you for watching tonight. I'm Callahan Walsh. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.
I'm John Walsh, and don't forget, you can make a difference.